Yeah, no, it didn't work this time. And Liz, baby, Liz came ready for them. Liz gave them jokers something that they could feel, y'all. Let's talk about it. Come on, Patrice, and welcome back to my channel. Tonight we're gonna be reviewing Ready to Love Season 4, Episode 5. Eyes Wide Open, I think was the name of it. So the episode starts out with a double date between AJ, Kyra, Jason, and Alexis. And you see AJ and Kyra together, and you know they went on to have a conversation, and AJ says that, you know, even though they have some history, he and Kyra, you know, she's still in his top. And she herself says that, you know, if she can just get through all of the BS with AJ, that she's looking forward to getting to know him better. You know, he's educated, he's an engineer, and she has, you know, she feel him a little bit. You know, what y'all think? I don't know how that can happen with the way that it started, with her making those comments about him, you know, being cheap, and, you know, what her girlfriend's gonna say. And I think, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I feel maybe she can always kind of have that in the back of her mind, so it's gonna give her a little insecurity if she has to bring him in public, or either have conversations with her girlfriend as far as why she made the decision to give him another chance. However, they look good together, y'all. So, you know, hopefully it works. Then you see Alexis. Girl, Alexis got on her little fly outfit. She want everybody to know, in case you didn't know, right? She got on her little fly jogging suit. It was cute. And she and Jason were ice skating, and yeah, they didn't really, yeah, they were struggling, but they didn't fall. You know, they was getting around. And Alexis, you know, she in it to win it, y'all. She just kind of was like, look, I don't really want to be strung along. You know, how do you feel about me? You know, could you see this going beyond me just knowing you from my son and being his basketball coach? And he's like, you know, I just want to be transparent with you. I can't get past you being Jet's mom. So then we see a date between Stacy and Ron. They have a one-on-one date where you see her arriving to his home, and actually he remembers a conversation that they had where, as she stated, she likes seafood. So I'm assuming that he's not really a cook, or even not a cook to that type of food. So he ordered it in, and I appreciated that about him. Kind of reminded me of when Stacy remembered that about AJ, and when they were at the group date when they was doing cooking, she remembered that he didn't like pork. And so I was happy to see that Ron had remembered something like that about her. And so she comes in, and she's like, oh, you cook for me? And clearly conceded little takeout dishes there. So he's like, well, we gonna eat, you know. And so they sit down and have a conversation. And with this date, I guess the part that stood out the most to me was the fact she made mention that, you know, her and Chrissy are homegirls, and then he's like, yeah, you know, the freaking frack. And she's like, yeah, and I was over her house, and you came up in conversation. And he was like taken aback a little bit by that. And so she went on to talk about how they, you know, she knows that, you know, he's interested in both, and she made him choose right then and right there on their date. She didn't even allow them to get to know each other. It's like, you know, we're close. You got to choose one or the other. And he was kind of stumbling over his words, and it was just awkward. It was awkward for me watching it. Yeah, but I don't think this is going to serve her well. But he went on to say, well, you know, to be honest, I have more connection with her. So, so next we see Chris and Amber, and they are on a date where Chris has invited her to one of his favorite meditation spots. And he talks about how, he is vibing with her, and he just loves the fact how open-minded she is. And so they both come in, and she asked him, were you manifesting me? And he was like, "Oh, I've definitely been putting the intentions out in the universe." So I thought that was cute. They have really good banter and a little flirtation language with each other that go back and forth. You can tell it's very easy between them. They both can just show up in who they are authentically, and it seems to click. And so that's always good, when you go on dates. However, it just looks like KG is back in the same position he was last time when he was dealing with Naya last season. They both kneel down, and he had them to recite, "I am happy, I am strong." And she says that she enjoys, repeating that with him because it shows his strong and masculine side, and she really appreciates that. And so then she asked him about marriage, and unlike last time when Chris was like, he can take it or leave it type thing, he went on this time to explain how marriage is not the end all be all for him. It's not the epitome of the relationship. So we're not like building up to marriage. But, if it comes to that, he's open to it. He's, open and ready for the right person. And she, again, she always seems, I don't know if it's concession with her because she really likes him, or if that's just naturally who she is. And, her values just align so much with his. But she says, she agrees that, as long as they are in a committed, relationship, and she feels she's with her soulmate, that all else will follow. And so he was like, "I know that's right. That I knew it was something why I connected to you." And so they kind of walk off, giving pleasantries to each other, saying how, it's always good for them to link up and be with each other because they really enjoy each other's company. So another really cute date with them. So the next date we see is with Ron. Actually, Ron has rented out a space, and he gonna teach salsa. He gonna be the instructor. So that, he seems real comfortable. Evidently, that's a dance he really enjoys, so much so that he feel he can teach the other. So Chris arrives, and he is like, "Wow, this is my first time seeing her. She got her little cleavage out. I'm liking what I see. It looked like it's going to be a good night." And so it's Ron and Chris, and then you see Tressa and Diedrich, and then there is Joel and Vernisha. And so they're all surprised that Ron is the teacher. Tressa was like, "I thought we was going to have a real teacher, but we got Ron." And so he was really trying to help them, but they was kind of get confused, and you can see, like, Joel, he like, "Yeah, nah, this ain't me." So as Ron has broken each couple off into separate rooms, Vernisha and Joel is a hugger, y'all. I don't know if he just like hugging her, he because he just want to feel all that partying at the Zulu ball, like he said last time. But he seems to be very affectionate with her, especially with hugs. But they go on and do their little version of the dance. He twisting her this way, twisting her that way, and she seems to be very giddy about it. She says, "You always making me blush," and he just talks about how their connection is so easy for him, and he really appreciate that. Again, she's a woman who's been through something. She's handled her business. She's come out on the other side favorable, and he really appreciates that about her. And they have a good time dancing, and he twisting her and turning her. No real salsa, but they in there, making a connection. Because it was just about, Ron wanted the couples to get together so there can be some physical touch, because he believes that brings a closer connection. And you see Ron and Chris, and baby Chris, they doing turns. He got her rubbing his head and putting his hands on the shoulder, and he leading her, and they seem to really gel well on the dance floor together. And so that was really cute to see. And then you see Tressa and Diedrich, and Diedrich is like, I can't get this. This is just all too much. And Tressa is like still trying, saying, we supposed to do it like this? We supposed to do it? I don't know. What you think? What you think? And so it was a little harder for them, but you know, they were in their own separate space. Okay, so then we have Ron and Chrysanthemum, and they are actually, they're having a good time. They look like they vibe well together. And they are in sync, you know, and dancing together. He twisting and turning her. She rubbing across his head and come down on his shoulders. And so, you know, he really enjoying the date. And then she kind of brings up like, yeah, so let's talk, you know, about, you know, where you are or where I am with you. And she goes on to tell him that in the ladies' lounge that Alexis kind of mentioned that, you know, she's at his top. And so she just kind of, you know, want to see what that's about. And then they go on to show where Alexa, in fact, talked about, you know, how she and Ron are, you know, they talking to each other all the time on the phone, and, you know, they're getting close with each other. And he told her she was at his top. And you kind of see Chris kind of laid back. And so she is confronting Ron about it, which is not really, I don't know. I don't see where it's going to serve her well. You can actually tell she was a little bratty about it. I don't know. I think I get, you know, she feels that, you know, she's a top chick. She's not really a number two. But he goes on to tell her, you know, I got my top three. You know, I'm just trying to peel back some layers and, you know, get to know. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not like, you know, you're not up there. And she was like, yeah, but, you know, in her confessional, she says that, you know, Ron wasn't even on her list. And then after their last date, he shot up to the top. So her being a number two, yeah, nah, she's not number two material. And so he's like, come on now, we trying to get to know each other. You know, look, she's like, but I mean, who you got? He said, I'm looking for a partner. Can you be that? I'm looking for a partner. And so you can tell it was a little frustration from him, or disappointment. I'm going to say not frustration, but he was a little disappointed because he felt that they were making a connection, and he himself, in fact, is doing what this process entails, which is dating, collecting data from different women to see exactly, you know, which one will be the best fit for him. Now, Ron goes on to say, you know, in his confessional that the fact that, you know, she feels she should be at his top, he feels is selfish, and that's not really where he is. And, you know, the way he is handling this process, you know, the way he needs to find love, he is doing it the way he feels that's best for him. And that is peeling back the layers, getting to know, you know, the women he seemed to have labeled in his top three, getting to know them better. And so, yeah, he wasn't really feeling that exchange. So next we see Tressa and Diedrich at the spice shop. And he said he wanted to still continue this date with Tressa because he kind of felt something last time, and he just want to, you know, see how much further he can go. He want to connect with her a little more, or see if he can connect with her a little more, and kind of see if it's something there. And so they meet up at the spice shop, and he shows her his favorite spices. He goes on to say something I didn't know about buying imitation vanilla, and how it is extracted from the beaver's anal sac. Yeah, made me go throw that imitation vanilla in the cabinet away. I don't know how true that is, but it don't sound good at all. And so he goes on to say that, but you can tell through their exchange, it really was no chemistry there. And so he kind of confirms that by the end. He actually said, you know, it kind of still feel like, a homegirl. He still gets a homegirl vibe from her. So she goes on to say that, she didn't feel it, and it wasn't like he was trying to lick the spices off her arm. And it even asked him, like, where was he? Because she finds that, in her experiences with voluptuous women, men will, sleep with them and lay down them and be sexual with them, but not necessarily want to, take a relationship to a higher level. And he did a long sigh, and I don't know, that said, all I needed to know, and I'm sure she got it. But he made a statement that I believe to be very true with men, and is that if a guy wants you, he's going to make time for you, he's going to come after you, you are going to know, you're going to feel that, you are chosen, you are a priority, you're going to be able to feel all those things. And so many times women will just go on the word, and they hold on to the word of a man, and it takes, word and deed. And so I think that's what he was explaining. The action has to come with the word. And when you have them both, that's when you got something. And you could look forward and know that this guy's really into you. So next we see everybody coming to the masquerade ball. It's the first time that they're all going to be getting together since the brunch. And they're all coming together to see, each other in different lights, and get to see how they're going to show up. Everybody showing up in their best. And so it was really good to see the men and how they was all dressed up. They were looking good too. And, just to see the different variety of taste and how they, had presented themselves. They had on very intricate masks. I mean, they was really into it, y'all. I thought, they came ready. And you see Alexis, she getting out the black truck, and Alexis said, guess what, y'all? I'm manifesting, I'm setting intentions, I'm letting everybody know, I'm showing up in true representation of the direction I'm trying to go. Alexis got on a really, really nice gown. It kind of is gives you the essence of a wedding gown. And she said she want to set the tone. She want to walk in and let them know, yeah, I'm going in this direction. What you doing? And she said she needed to make sure she, stay on brand as Alexis Fly. And then you see the black truck pull up, and Liz walks in. And, oh my gosh, Liz looks beautiful. She always carried herself, like AJ said, she has a very regalness about her. But baby, she let them girls out tonight. They, very full, just kind of wanted to show everything that she was working with. And so, it was a good look for her though, because she not only shows up in a way, and she presented a different side of herself. And I think as women, we have those sides. And I say, I like how she positioned herself in this. Whereas, she always showed up cute and everything. But when she was coming tonight, she was, she came in late, and she made a statement. And although, it wasn't a very elaborate gown, but she had a strong color on, and she looked good in it. And all them men was looking up like, who that? And so it was good to see that. It was just, yeah. Liz came. She was ready. She said, absolutely. Matter of fact, she said, they wasn't ready for me. I showed up, in her confessional. She knew what she was doing. That was all intentional, right? So both her and Alexis, they got the message. I think they are also there really looking for love, willing to put 100% into what they need to get to that point. So then you see Dave greet Liz, and he was like, wow. And his confessional, he said, he never seen Liz in this way. And he said, she really showed off tonight. And he said, but she looked good, and he appreciated, You know, he said her look. I mean, he paid attention to the detail of her look. He's like, her earrings on point. He said at the end of the day, she came to let everybody know what y'all thought y'all knew. Yeah, nah, it's more to that. And so then, you know, you see them get together and he kind of tells her how beautiful she is, and you know how he was going to escort her over here. Did a little something I didn't really appreciate by just kind of laying claims on her, but I mean, you know, she seems to really have connected with him, and he said, yeah, you know, everybody think we together anyway, so I want them to think, you know, you mine. So let's go on over here. And so you see him escort her away, and Liz was like, she can get with this. She loving all the attention. You know, she said, matter of fact, when Dave saw her, his mouth dropped. So then you see Tommy get everybody together, and he goes on to tell them, you know, welcome them to the masquerade ball. And he's like, Liz, you know, he even recognized Liz. He said, Liz, wait to pass to see this. And she kind of laughed. It was really cute. But he went on to say that, welcome to the masquerade ball. And, you know, normally he hosts these things and he tired of hosting them by himself. And so he brings out his wife. I expected a little more, but she was beautiful in the same. Yeah, he brought out his wife. And it was a cute moment. And so everybody was happy to see her. And you see her going around kind of talking to everyone as he is doing the same thing. He goes on to tell the group that this is the time where, you know, you need to take the mask off, okay? And y'all need to show each other exactly who y'all are. And so you see them dancing. They had a good time. You can tell genuinely this was a real party. This was a real function for them. You see them dancing. You see Liz, baby. Liz came locked and loaded. I love it. I love it. I love it. Liz did so good, y'all. But you see her jamming, and they look like they all having a great time. And so that was good to see. So then you see Alexis, she laid up on the steps. She got her gown flowing off to the side. Alexis looked really cute. I have to give it to her. She came classy with it. So you see her sitting on the steps, and Tommy's wife joins her. And Tommy's wife, the jumpsuit was really cute. I really liked the black sequins jumpsuit she had on. It's just something about her hair, and the dye, it was like all blending in. It was, yeah, it was something about the ponytail or the dye, and yeah, the hairline. I don't know. Just something about that kind of got me. But anyway, they sit and they have a conversation, and Alexis goes on to say how that, you know, most people kind of go into marriage, you know, looking for and through the love aspect of it. But as far as, you know, her this time around, she is looking for joy. And that's the connection she wants to make, because joy is everlasting. So in the next scene, you see Ron, KJ Smooth, Chris, and Stacy. And they get to talking about, you know, them, meaning Stacy and Chris, being freaking frack. And how did they even become freaking frack? And what's that about? And Chris in her confessionals, like, I done found my sister wife. And, you know, how that she loved herself some Stacy, how they have met at this experience and have become best friends. And I appreciate that. And that seems to be kind of what happens each season. That's the one good thing, that, you know, the relationships seem to go beyond this experience. And they call themselves freaking frack. And that's not cute, though. We grown. Do grown women do that? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, freaking frack. And so as the night goes on, you kind of see the guys like, yeah, nah. And it actually, it's turning some of them off. You know, Chris, although he after Stacy ghosted him back when they was at the cooking class, he ain't really feeling Stacy. Yeah, so then you see Tommy even try to go talk to frickin' frack. And he asked them, you know, okay, so y'all, you know, frickin' frack, are y'all, in addition to being connected to one another like that, are y'all interested in the same guys? And they say, yeah, he was like, oh Lord. But they say, no, we kind of, got it worked out. And he tries to help them by saying, this is cute and all, but, at some point, frick got to be frick and frack got to be frack. Y'all got to be able to keep it separate. And, they say, oh no, we got it separate. And Chris makes this little shopping noise. And so he's like, okay, as long as y'all know. And then Stacy, does a little something that I believe to be aggressive. She kind of, decides to, I don't know. She's like, Tommy, you need to, and she put her hand kind of close to his face. Like, you need to hold 8 feet to the fire because they talk about, they ain't come here for this. Well, hell, I mean, this is what it is. Like, the men have to accept that. And so he was like, yeah, no. So anyway, he made a quick exit, was like, drink to that. So, yeah, he tried to help him. This is a mess. They too grown for this right here. It's this, yeah. He then go on over to the group of guys, and it's Diedrich, AJ, Ron, and maybe KJ Smooth, I think. Anyway, but I know it was Diedrich, AJ, and Ron, and so he asked them, how's it going? And so Diedrich Starr was like, look, that 1 and 2, that group, the frickin' frack, and AJ was like, I don't, that's not even 2. I count them as 1. If you mess with that, you getting both of them together, and don't nobody want that. And so, yeah, see, it's amazing how, as women, maybe it was the alcohol. I don't know. Because they seem to be freaking frack outside of this party. So can't really blame it on the alcohol. But the men, that's not cute. It's just not cute. Who told them that was cute? Yeah. So then you see Jason, where he said he made a mental note all night long since she done walked up in there that he got to get Liz by herself. So you see him taking her off to the side to speak with her. And they are sitting having a conversation, and it's really cute. And he I don't know. I think Liz might be. Well, Liz is a grown ass woman, y'all. She's a boss. She is sure about who she is and whose she is, and she has standards and have also created boundaries that she respects about herself, and without a shadow of a doubt, whoever is a match for her is going to have to respect those same boundaries. And so in that, I think she might be a little much for Jason, but Jason, hell, he asked, do she think, she could possibly see them, making some type of connection? And she was like, that's a good question. And he kind of swiped her hair out of her face, and I think that kind of, softened her a little bit, or, made her recognize a part in him that he can kind of be assertive, and that, that kind of gave him some grown man points. That's what I'm gonna call it anyway. And so, she went on to say how, she has values, and she also appreciate those same values in him, the way he was raised, and his core beliefs and stuff, and he could appreciate that. She could appreciate that about him, but as a woman, we are trying to be vulnerable, during this process, but we also have to protect our hearts. And so again, I think Liz might be a bit much for Jason, but she was rubbing on his legs and stuff, and he said, I feel a connection. So, who knows? And I think it is kind of good that they had this conversation, because I think it kind of gave a crack in the door for Liz to not just put all her eggs in the basket with Dave. Because, he'd already laid claim on her at the beginning of the night when he first saw her come through the door. But, yeah, I want Liz to explore all of her options. And I think tonight, the way she has showed a different side of herself, still classy, but can, show up and show out if she needs to, and that was one of the criteria Tommy talked about when he first talked about the ball. You got to be able to not just be, one-sided and one-dimensional. You got to kind of have different sides of yourself as you go through life with somebody, because you're going to be put in positions or either, put in places where you got to be able to fit that role. And so Liz came to show, that when it comes down to getting, grown and sexy, she got that covered too. Then she goes on to ask him, since he asked her, what could he possibly be a contender for her. She goes on to ask him, who are your top picks and why? And he was like, you. Now, I don't know if he felt that way before, but I think, I don't know. But he made it clear to her. He's like, you are in the top. Yeah, I'm checking for you too now. Okay. And so she thought that was cute. And he said, he really appreciate her vibe. And she presents herself in like Michelle Obama-like, presence, and he appreciate that, and so she was like, oh, thank you, he's like, no, thank you, and that was good to see. Now, I will say Jason is young, but the fact that he knows a woman when he sees it's not about the game for him. I think, here, once again, this is another gentleman that's in a part of this process who is ready. And Liz goes on to say in her confessional, she's in a conundrum, she said, because she was really feeling David, and she thought that was her one. However, Jason then showed, her something else, and she really appreciate, the way he's showing up, and again, the standards and values that he have expressed, and she's looking forward to going on a one-on-one date with him to see if it's something that was just they experienced during that moment, or is it something that they can maybe experience for a lifetime. I know that's right, Liz. So then you see Ron and Chris talking, and she kind of brought up that number one thing again, and Alexis came walking past, and actually she was sitting, and she walked up, and she and Joel embraced and gave each other a hug. And Ron, he couldn't keep his eyes off of her. Matter of fact, he ghosted Chris and went over there to talk to Alexis. And so, but Chris got it. She was like, yeah, I know you want to run over there with your number one. Go on, run over with your number one. Yeah, she a little immature, y'all. So that freaking frack, it all making sense. Yeah, nah. I don't know what, I don't know. Chris ain't ready to love. I don't think her or Stacy ready to love. I think they have both come to just satisfy something in themselves to say that, yeah, I still got it. Well, we know it ain't gonna work good for Stacy, but Chris, she hopefully once they're separated, it gets better. But she got the message from Ron, and Ron, he said he knew Alexis was gonna come with it, but that's the direction he going. I don't know, Alexis. Well, first she said that she still like AJ. AJ is in her top. However, her and Ron talk on the phone a lot, and so that connection is definitely being established. She feel he's intelligent, and he wants a family, and it's something that she wants also. But she too, like, where am I? Who, where do I stand? Where do I stand? I don't know. Nobody stand. The purpose of the process is to date. You are to date multiple people, collecting data. And Alexis seems to be doing that, right? But to me, she is not allowing the men to do that. She just kind of want to know where she's staying. And for real, I'm like, Deidre, you know where you stand by the vibe that you get from the dude, by his actions. Like, for her to ask him that when she clearly saw him over there talking with Chris, because she made mention to that. But yet he, ducked her to come over to talk to you. So what was the purpose of her asking him that? Unless, it's the ego thing with her. Hell, Ron think Chris' ego need to be fed. Well, yeah, Lexus, she got a nice size ego too, Ron. So, I don't know. So, I don't appreciate that about the woman, but about the women. The way they're just all trying to figure out where I stand, instead of letting things evolve. Ron had already said, he peeling back layers on all of them. So just let it, evolve. And at the end of the day, as a woman, if a dude really checking for you like that, just walk in all your glory. And if it's for you, yeah, you ain't gonna have to worry about it. You ain't gonna be no questions asked, So then you see all of the guys in the lounge, and they all coming together. And Joel, says in his confessional, he looks forward to coming together. The brotherhood that they have, and they get to catch up and see what's on each other's minds. And you see Tommy come in, and he's like, "Yeah, I see y'all Seagrammed up." He's like, "Yeah, I like it when y'all get to drinking because y'all really get to talking." So he asked them, did they enjoy the ball, and everybody seemed to agree that they all had a really good time. And then Tommy, he gave them all a compliment, which I agree with. He said, "Look, y'all, man, y'all was butter. Y'all came in there like that." And they did. They looked very, very nice. And he said, and them women, they had on them dresses too. They was looking good. And so Dave, of course, he wanted to make mention of his woman. He's like, "Yeah, Liz came in there, didn't she?" And Joel was like, "Liz," he turned her head around so much, he had to put icy hat on that night. He said he's still dealing with icy hat, the way he had whiplash messing with Liz when she walked up in that joker. And then Dave said, she just wanted to let everybody know she more than just a church girl. Let the church say amen. So then Tommy was like, "Okay, so I talked about, the mask coming off. So let's talk about y'all dates." So he first asked AJ, AJ, who you feeling? And he says Kyra. He's like, something about, a woman that shows forgiveness, but still wants to have a conversation to move forward, that he appreciating her. And so she, is his number one. And then you see Jason kind of look down, because of course Kyra is in his top also. And then he asks KG Smooth, who your number one? And he says Amber. And Tommy was like, "Yeah, I had a conversation with her, at the ball." And KJ Smooth goes on to tell about their date, where they went to the Zen garden and did meditation, and how she's all way in. And he appreciated that. And so she is definitely in his top. So he goes on to ask Dave, who's his number one. And of course, Dave says Liz. He have been peeling back her layers. He loving all that he see. And he, first and foremost appreciate, her, where she is in her spiritual journey. And he feels that they're a good match. And then he asks Joel. And Joel says Vernisha. He, again, talks about, her overcoming and her, handling her business in her household. And he added, that she accepts him for who he is, and it's vice versa between them. Now, I don't know. Joe, whenever he talks about Vernisha, it's just that. And so, I don't know, it's kind of giving me some kind of pause, because is it just about what she can do in like that aspect? I don't know. I think what I'm hearing in him, when he speaks about Vernisha, it's like, okay, yeah, she'll be a good, woman for this household. I'm looking for a mama, and I'm looking for a woman to come in and, walk right into that role. And she seems to be that woman for me. She is more than that. And so I would love to hear him speak about that side of her. So then he goes on to ask Ron, and Ron says Alexis, and he talks about how they are in contact with each other daily, and the way that they interact with each other on a daily basis is kind of reminiscent of what a relationship would look like, and he appreciates that, and so Alexis is in his top. So then Tommy goes on and say, okay, so now we gotta go the opposite direction. Who we not feeling. So AJ goes on to say it's Chris and Stacy for him, because you can't get one without the other, and it's like you have to kind of take them as a package, or one or the other put you in a position where you have to choose one over the other. And so Tommy acknowledges, yeah, freaking frack, cause that ain't what. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna keep talking about that, y'all. I already heard it. Then he goes on to ask Ron, who's in your bottom, and he said his bottom is Stacy. He said he feels that she's a little too direct and aggressive, and he did not appreciate her, when she came over for the date, kind of cornering him as to, him making a choice between her and Chrissy. And he said he not her child. He didn't appreciate being handled that way. So, and then Tommy asked, was it anybody else? And then Dave said, not that, it's anything wrong with her person. However, it's just no romantic connection. And he brought up Tressa. And so the other guys kind of agreed. So we kind of know at this point who's in the bottom too. And so then you see Dave, and he sits down with Stacy, and he is asking her, how does she feel about the process so far, and how did she get any different perspectives after mingling at the ball. And she brought up, a lot of the guys, had a problem with me and Chrissy being so close, and she didn't understand why. And he was like, yeah, while when we was talking, a lot of people brought up, freaking fracking. It was like that wee bit joy that he may have in allowing himself to be able to tell her, based on, when we came together in the conversations that were had between us men in the man cave, that we didn't really feel if you were genuine and authentic, are you presenting your true self in this process? And so therefore, we don't feel that you're ready for love. And Stacy busts out crying. I can understand the emotional aspect of it, but she felt like she was bamboozled. She felt like, they weren't authentic themselves, and the conversations. And so it kind of took me back to Ida, and Ida kind of said the same thing. And so I wonder if they have both I don't know, it's something going on outside of what we see on the TV. Actually, I think it's pretty girl privilege. I think she and Chrissy had gotten together and figured themselves to be, we the pretty girls of the bunch, and I feel this was her ego speaking. She could not believe or fathom that they could, send her home before others that she felt that she's above with her aesthetically. And so you see Stacy in her confessional, and she said one thing about Stacy B, she's never on the bottom. And that's the ego part that I'm talking about. Yeah. So I ain't mad at that decision. And so then you see Joel, and he's talking to Tressa, and he's really trying to be gentle with it. You can tell. He wants to not kill her spirit. At least that's kind of how I felt. He still wanted to speak life into her while letting her know that it's 2 eliminations this week, and that the guys kind of felt a homegirl vibe still. Nobody made any true connections, and that she too was going to be sent home this week. And so Joel, he's a hugger. So he's like, this wasn't easy for me, baby. And he gave her a nice big old hug. And so, so it was Stacy and Tressa that went home. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this video. Thumbs up the video and make a comment. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode. And do y'all agree with me that it's going to be Dietrich and AJ next time? As always, I love you to life. Life is a journey. Choose yourself first and enjoy the ride.